Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Bio Fingerprints. It's my fifth video. Your love and support encourage me to work more hard. So thank you so much and keep sharing videos. In my last video, I had covered epithelial tissues and muscular tissues. So you can find the link in the description box. Today I'm going to cover connective tissues and nervous tissues. So let's begin with connective tissue first. So connective tissues. Before moving forward, let me tell you why are they known as connective tissues. They are known as connective tissues because they connect various organs and tissues together. And connective tissues are divided into three main types. Number one, fibrous connective tissues, supportive connective tissues, and fluid connective tissues. Fibrous connective tissues are also known as connective proper. And fibrous or connective proper, they are divided into two main types: dense connective tissues and loose connective tissues. Dense connective tissues are further divided into two parts: tendons and ligaments. Loose connective tissues are further divided into two parts: areolar and adipose. We will discuss about all these types of connective tissues in more detail later, right? Now, supportive connective tissues. Supportive connective tissues are divided into bone and cartilage. Next, fluid connective tissues. Fluid connective tissues are divided into blood and lymph. So first, let's start with this type of connective tissues, fibrous or connective proper. Fibrous connective tissues or connective tissue proper, they are made up of bundles of collagen fibers. Here you can see in the diagram given. So basically they function as packing and binding of organs. So their main functions are packing and binding of organs. And yes, they provide support and strength to the bones and organs of the body also. They act as shock absorbers. So therefore they protect organs and tissues. So therefore they are protective in nature. Now coming on to their types. First type is areolar tissue. Here I have already told you that fibrous connective tissues are divided into dense and loose type. Dense connective tissues are divided into tendons and ligaments. Loose connective tissues are divided into areolar and adipose tissue. First we are going to discuss about the loose connective tissues. So loose connective tissues are divided into two types, areolar and adipose. So what about areolar? Areolar connective tissue is a tissue that holds organs in place and acts as a cushion. So I am writing here the function. So this tissue connects organs or holds organs in place and acts as a cushion. So basically it also makes skin elastic, that gives a pulling strain. So next type of loose connective tissue is adipose connective tissue. Adipose connective tissue forms padding under the skin. So adipose tissue forms padding under the skin. Under the skin as well as around kidneys, eyeballs, etc. So adipose connective tissue have fat storage cells. So therefore they act as insulators. Now moving on to the type of dense connective tissues. Number 1, tendon, and number 2, ligament. So tendon is a type of tissue which connects muscles to bones. So whenever you jump or move, they protect you from getting injured, right? So this is the tendon part, and this connects this muscle part to the bony attachment. Next type is ligament. This is another type of dense connective tissue. So a ligament is a tissue which connects bone to bone and holds bones, joints and organs in position. So they are present around your joints, example around your knees, your ankles, elbows, shoulders, etc. Moving on to the second type of connective tissue, supportive connective tissue. This is another class for connective tissue, and it is divided into two main parts, cartilage and bone. So they provide support or form a supportive framework in your body. So therefore they are known as supportive connective tissues. So I am writing here the function. They provide support or form supportive framework in our body, and there are two types, bone and cartilage. First we are going to discuss about cartilage. So cartilage is a non-porous tissue. It is also semi-transparent. It is smooth, elastic tissue which is more or less rubber-like, right? And this also covers bone ends, and it has no blood vessels or nerves. No blood vessels and nerves. These are some important characteristic features of cartilage. Now location where cartilage tissue is present in our body. So cartilage tissue is present in, number 1, I am writing here the location. Number 1, ends of ribs. Number 2, tip of the nose. Number 3, external projection of ear. External projection of ear. In between the video you can take some screenshots also. Number 4, windpipe. Number 5, between the vertebrae in spine. It means in our backbone. Number 6, in joints between bones. For example, elbows, knees, ankles, etc. Now, if you could see the structure of the cartilage, so cartilage is made up of some special cells known as chondrocytes. So chondrocytes produce matrix, which is made up of 3 things. Number 1, collagen fibers. Proteoglycan, which is a sugar. Number 3, elastin fibers. Next is matrix. Matrix is a clear ground space. Clear ground space. Now inside this empty cell space there are some lacunae present. What are these lacunae? Lacunae forms the small cavity with cartilage cells. So you can say that lacunae form small cavities with cartilage cells. Now moving on to the second type of supportive connective tissue, that is bone. So bone tissues are known as is a tissue. And what is a bone? Bone is a supportive and protective tissue. It is porous, while cartilage is non-porous. Bone is rigid, which makes skeleton. Bone also produces RBCs, WBCs, red blood cells, white blood cells, and it also stores minerals like calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, etc. Bone is very lightweight yet strong and hard. Next, osteocyte. So osteocyte is a cell with the help of which complete bone structure is made up of. Next, so here is a Haversian canal. So Haversian canal is present in some honeycomb like hard matrix. Honeycomb like hard matrix, and it is rich in calcium, phosphorus and some salts, or sometimes the salts of calcium and phosphorus also. Now let's compare bone and cartilage. I think we are well aware about both of the tissues. Number one, bone is strong plus non-flexible. Cartilage is softer and much more flexible. Number two, bones have various proteins, calcium and phosphorus. Cartilage, the matrix of cartilage is made up of some proteins and sugars. Sugars, for example, proteoglycan, we have already discussed about this sugar. Number three, bone cannot be bent, but cartilage can be bent. This you can notice by bending your ears, or you can touch the tip of your nose. You can see it is much flexible also, softer also, and it can be bent. Number four, so in bones blood vessels and nerves are present. Blood vessels and nerves are present. And in the cartilage, blood vessels and nerves are absent. Blood vessels plus nerves, these are absent. Number fifth point about bones. Bone is a porous tissue, and cartilage is a non-porous tissue. Now moving forward to the fluid connective tissue. Fluid connective tissues are of two types, blood and lymph. First we are going to discuss about blood. So blood is a mixture of water, sugars, fat, protein and some salts. Okay, so I am writing here the functions of blood. The main functions which it performs, they are: number one, transportation. So it transports various gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide. This is essential for the exchange of respiratory gases. Number two, it has WBCs, white blood corpuscles or white blood cells, which are known as soldiers of our body. So they perform defensive function. So number three, it regulates body temperature also. First we are going to discuss about RBCs, red blood cells or red blood corpuscles. They are also known as erythrocytes. The shape is biconcave. We have already discussed about the shape of RBCs in our first video. The link of our first video is also given in the description box. You can check. So the shape is biconcave. Nucleus is absent in mature RBCs. Therefore, mature RBCs die, okay, because nucleus is present in only young RBCs. Moving on to the white blood cells, these are also known as leukocytes. Here, leukocytes. So here leuko means white and cytes means cells. So white blood cells, leukocytes. So WBCs are also known as soldiers of our body. Why? Because they are the part of our immune system and protect us from infection. So there are some subtypes of WBCs also. WBCs are divided into two parts, granulocytes and non-granulocytes. So these three are the types of granulocytes, and monocytes and lymphocytes are the type of agranulocytes. I'm writing here granulocytes and non-granulocytes. In granulocytes, granulo means granules, the presence of granules in the cells. Granules are the coarse substances present in the cell, and non-granulocytes means granules are not present, or the coarse structures are not present inside the cell. So the detail of all these types of white blood cells is not given in your syllabus. So we are moving ahead. Next is platelets. Platelets are involved in blood clotting. If you get injured, so this is the type of blood cell, platelet, which helps in blood clotting. So there are some minerals necessary to carry out the process of blood clotting. That is calcium. Calcium is the mineral, and potassium also. One more mineral is also there, magnesium. Magnesium is also involved in blood clotting. So these are the three minerals which are required for blood clotting. And yes, here is one vitamin, vitamin K. It is also responsible to carry out the process of blood clotting. Next is lymph. Lymph is a fluid which is made up of plasma and WBCs. So lymph acts to remove bacteria, and other particles. It also maintains fluid balance in our body. Now our next tissue is nervous tissue. So its name suggests that this tissue is made up of many nerves. Nervous. It means it is made up of many nerves, and it is found in the brain, spinal cord and nerves. It is composed of neurons. Neurons are the structural and basic unit of this nervous tissue. So this tissue is the main part of our nervous system and has the ability to generate and also conduct electrical impulses or signals in the body. So the main function is, I am writing here, to generate and conduct electrical signals or impulses in the body. This is the function which it performs. So let's start discussing the structure and function of each part of this tissue. Number one is cell body. It is also known as cyton. It contains the nucleus, cytoplasm and cell organelles. The cytoplasm is coarse. It contains some granules. Some small particles are present. Those are known as granules, and those are also known as NISSEL'S granules. The spelling might be different in different books. Next is dendrite. Dendrite is the highly branched structure which is responsible for receiving information from other adjacent neurons, because nervous tissue forms a chain-like structure with many neurons attached one after another from both the ends, tip and tail. Next is axon. So axon is the extension of the dendrite. So it transmits signals away from the cell body. Next is myelin sheath. Can you see this covering? This covering is a myelin sheath. So this is a covering made up of fat tissues. So it works as an insulator around the axon. Next is node of Ranvier. The node of Ranvier are the gaps. These are the gaps between myelin sheath where axons are not covered by myelin sheath. So this is the part from where the axon is not covered by any sheath. So this gap or this space or this junction is known as node of Ranvier. Next is synapses. Synapses are present on the tip part of the neuron as well as tail part of the neuron because synapses connect one neuron to another. Their main function is to transmit impulses or signals between two nerve cells or neurons, or between a neuron and a muscle cell. So this was all about the nervous tissue and connective tissue. Keep watching my video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe and share.